What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and learn about the most British things imaginable. This would kind of be like if you spotted an American wearing an American flag as a cape while flying on a bald eagle while holding a gun that shoots cheeseburgers. Except the British version of whatever that is. And this is actually today going to be stories from actual Brits that have actually happened. Not that American on the bald eagle doesn't exist. I think I saw him the other day flying across the road. But I have found this little Reddit discussion where someone asked, what is the most absolute ridiculously British thing ever that no other country would or could do? And we have a whole bunch of Brits answering this question, starting with, for me, it must be the Jaffa cake being a biscuit or a cake legal case against the HMRC. This was a this was a legal case? Like a legal battle? Is the Jaffa cake a biscuit or cake? Was an actual court case? Why? Who did it matter? Was someone suing over this? How did this harm any? Did people just need an answer? Jaffa, okay. Where McVitie's won by baking an actual massive Jaffa cake to prove it was a cake. So very ridiculously British? What? Yeah. That is the most British thing I've ever heard. Jaffa cake doesn't even exist here in America. I've heard about the Jaffa cake, but they're tiny, like cookies or biscuits. Excuse me, like biscuits. But they're called cakes. Did this matter? Did it need a court case? Can I look this up? Let me see here. Here we go. Jaffa cake, a cake or biscuit. Oh, look at this. Google actually has a answer. This comes up when you look it up. During the court battle between McVitie's and Her Majesty's Custom and Excise, McVitie's baked a giant Jaffa cake to prove that Jaffa cakes were really cakes and not biscuits. You know what? That's awesome. Actually, that's actually awesome. It was a long and costly dispute. It cost them everything, making that giant Jaffa cake. It cost lives, and it cost all the resources of the company. But McVitie's finally tasted sweet success, of course, and Jaffa cakes were finally recognized as chocolate-covered cakes. Why was this something that needed to be proven? I am kind of glad that happened, though. I'm glad that happened. I just don't know why they had to prove that. Okay, moving on. Biscuits being passed around in the office and everyone pretending they didn't notice until it gets to them. And then they're like, oh, thanks, yeah. Is this some kind of like British polite thing? Like you see that biscuits are being brought in. You don't want to overreact. You got to play it cool. You're not going to just run for the biscuits and just start demolishing them. You got to play it cool. Oh, you brought biscuits. I didn't even notice. Thank you. Cool. I might have one. Is that? It is very British because Americans would run headfirst into the biscuits. There's no subtlety about it. So this is a very British. Is it just about being kind of polite about it? Is that why Brits tend to do this? Not in my office. Everyone's snack radar goes off at the first rustle of a packet. Then it's a race to get your fill. Yeah, that's the more American way to me as well. All right. The most watched program in the country, 2 years in a row, was the final of a baking competition. That is very British. I'm sure the most watched program in the United States is the Super Bowl, for sure, every year. I'm positive that's the most watched. And on the complete opposite spectrum, you have Britain, a baking competition finale, which honestly would be more like alluring to me personally than American football. I can't think of many countries where the equivalent of a televised village fete would be more watched than a big sport fixtures or a political broadcast. It right. There's a couple of very big baking shows in Britain, right? Like I know there's baking shows. What are they called? British baking shows. What are they? The Great British Bake Off. It's such a British name I couldn't even say it. The Great British Bake Off. That's the one I've heard of. Also, the fact that for 3 years in a row, our Christmas #1 has been sausage roll related. I'm very happy with this. I love Lad Baby. Our Christmas #1. I'm not sure what that means. Like the most watched thing on Christmas Day is sausage roll related. Is that what I am understanding here? Well, I'm not sure. That's such a British statement, I can barely comprehend it, but I like it. What about Watership Down? You know, that kids film that has rabbits being ripped apart for kids. I've never heard of this. 63 rabbits die on screen in 91 minutes. Watership Down? What? What? It's an adventure novel? Oh, it's a film as well. Is it a film? Yeah, it's a kids movie, Watership Down film. It has a rabbit on the cover. Watership Down is a British animated adventure drama film? Dear God. Where rabbits are ripped apart and murdered? By what? I don't even want to know. That's probably not good for kids. Not even good for me. I don't even want to know anymore. That is a very British thing. Bit dark. God, I've never heard of that. Watership Down? Also see Animals of Farthing Wood. I'm still traumatized and I'm in my mid-30s. What is this stuff? Traumatic animal stories. Very British indeed. Boaty McBoatface. It's a link. I'm a little scared here. Boaty McBoatface. Oh, what do we have here? Oh my goodness gracious. It's behind a paywall. Of course. Let me see here. Boaty McBoatface. I thought the whole thing was hysterical on two fronts. Maybe I can just look up Boaty McBoatface? What you get when you let a proposal by a British agency to let the internet name a research ship is the latest trend of web users having fun. A British agency let the internet name a boat, and it's Boaty McBoatface. That is British. That is British internet, because that's actually like in good fun, like in good taste. This kind of joking around, like internet Americans on the internet would have like called it something vulgar, something not very tasteful. Boaty McBoatface. That's just good humor. That's just good fun. The boat named Boaty McBoatface. Very good. Very British. Complain about houses being built on green belt land while living in a house that was once built on green belt land. What is green belt land? I've never even heard of this. Green belt is a policy in a land use zone designation used in land use planning to retain areas of largely undeveloped wild or agricultural land. So, land that's like natural. It's like equivalent to tearing down the rainforest and building a shopping mall there. When people who have a problem with tearing down like very natural areas of Britain and building homes there, but their home, it's just a little hypocritical. Little British hypocrisy with the house building. This one's a bit specific. I've never heard of that before. All right. Still quite British, quite British. French people seem to find it hilarious that opening up the pubs after lockdown was considered a major Opening the pubs after lockdown was considered a major priority. That is funny to me as well. I never even really heard about that after the lockdowns. Britain prioritized opening. What are we opening up? The schools? More of the medical centers? No. Pubs. The pubs must be open. Right, exactly. That is extraordinarily British. That is very British. Shows what idiots the French are. Yes. Okay. Very good. A little sibling rivalry going on here. The real ridiculous thing is that it was ever a question. Anyone who has ever eaten one confirm it's a cake. Oh, the Jaffa cake thing at the beginning. Yeah, this Jaffa cake. Why was it a question? Not that, yeah, it could be a question. Is Jaffa cake a biscuit or cake? Because on its face, it's a little confusing. But I'm asking, why did it become a legal question? Why was this a legal question that needed to be proven? I argue with my maths teacher. That's a British, unintentional British, very British thing, is saying maths with an S. In America, we just say maths. My year 10 maths teacher, whereas we would say 10th grade math teacher, unintentional, very British thing right there, about this every week. But it's in the biscuit aisle. But the size and shape is like the biscuit. Sorry, but it's in the biscuit aisle. But the size and shape is like a biscuit. I sounded Australian there, not British at all, by the way. These people teach our children. Man, apparently this is a very hotly debated topic. The House of Lords. Yes! That is so British. Yes, the British government is unintentionally very, very British sounding, just in name. The House of Commons, the House of Lords, like just the phrase, the House of blank, is very British. Okay. Good stuff here. The second part of this story. Oh, we're still on the Jaffa cake stuff. All right. Apparently this is a hot topic. The HMRC then changed the tax law so they can be taxed whether they are cake or biscuit. Oh, was the Jaffa Cake Company being taxed as a biscuit? And they had to prove they're a cake? And they made a giant Jaffa cake. What happened to that giant Jaffa cake? Did someone eat it? Did they do something with that, I hope? Cheese rolling! Yes! Yes. Oh, it's been a while since I have heard of the cheese rolling. Yeah, there's a bunch of videos about it. Let me see if I can pull up some pictures. Yeah, people... Brits flinging themselves down a hill, breaking every bone in their body, for the glory of capturing a cheese, rolling down a hill. Extraordinarily British. That is one of the most British things imaginable, truly. Ah, Gloucestershire. Yep, there's still a few crazy yokels left, but between the royal family and wealthy Tories, there's not much room left for them. Okay, no idea what any of that meant. Too British for me to understand, frankly. What else do we have here? Oh, I have another one. We went to the Food and Drink Festival at Bolton this weekend. Warburton's had... These names are very British to me. It makes me chuckle. Warburton's had rocked up in a van, and we're giving everyone a free hot crumpet. Very British. You could have butter and jam or Marmite. Very British. Now that's a company whose marketing department knows its audience. No nonsense, just have a crumpet on us. I don't think I've ever seen a better PR stunt. This was the most British paragraph I've ever encountered in a very long time. Warburton's rocked up, giving everyone a hot crumpet with butter, jam, or Marmite. Never even said those words to anyone ever in America, believe me. Yarn bombing. British grannies knit hats for post boxes. It's the most British thing I've ever seen, and it's awesome. Yarn bombing. Can I look this up? Yeah, I can. Yarn bombing is a type of graffiti or street art that employs colorful displays of knitted or crocheted yarn on poles or... Oh my dear Lord. Yarn bombing. Bombing the town, the trees, the cars, the poles with yarn. It's very wholesome. Oh my God. This is actually amazing work. Dear God, this is actually like a work of art. Like an art style I've never even thought about. Yarn bombing. by British nannies. That's awesome. Wait, that is actually awesome. I agree. I love it. I live in an area where there's a problem with people nicking them. So what have the old local ladies done? Printed and laminated notices asking people not to steal the knitted stuff. Oh, for crying out loud, stop stealing the poor old British ladies' yarns and just enjoy it, for goodness sake. Very wholesome, though, the yarn bombing. This is impressive, actually, like genuinely. Cheering whenever someone drops a glass in a pub. Yes! I've heard of this. This is very, very British. This doesn't exist in America. When someone drops a glass, it's like dead silence. Or someone screams. Or like people gasp. It's a traumatic event in America, in bars. But apparently in pubs, in British pubs, it's kind of fun. Everyone's cheering and clapping, kind of making a joke out of it. It's honestly kind of nice. Wholesome as well. Way, sack the juggler. What does that mean? Can you yell that? Well, I just figured you can yell that when someone drops a glass. It's related, I guess. Does any other country have the likes of Lord Buckethead running in elections? Lord Buckethead. We have Lord Buckethead. Let me zoom in on him. Old Lord Buckethead. 2020. Did he run for office? Man, you know what? I don't know anything about his policies, but I'm not going to knock him without knowing. Maybe he's here to change Britain for the better or something. Who knows? He wears a large boot on his head instead of a bucket. Oh, this is a different guy. Excuse me. Vermin Supreme II. I think the UK has a uniquely large amount of joke candidates. Yeah. Yeah, I've never heard of Lord Buckethead or Boothead. Joke candidates, like political candidates, are not really a thing in the United States. I've never even heard of this, but it's kind of hilarious, actually. Okay. Other than Trump. I had to get the jab in. I saw that comment. Pelting David Blaine with fruit and vegetables while he was pouncing about in his see-through cat box. What? Did that happen? Someone walking into you or hitting you with their trolley or similar, yet you are the one that apologizes to them. Very, very nice British politeness there. This was amazing, honestly. Some of the most British things I've ever heard of. I'm very satisfied. This was supposed to be the most ridiculously British things imaginable. And these were all true stories that exist in Britain that are indeed the most British things I have ever heard. So I really enjoyed this list. That was a hoot. And I don't know, very, very British. So if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to British culture and stuff in Britain I've never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.